President Trump tells Christian leaders that faith and family are, quote, the center of American life, and he promises to work with them to defend the unborn and to defend religious freedom.
As you know, in recent years, the government tried to undermine religious freedom, but the attacks on communities of faith are over. We've ended it. We've ended it.
President Trump and the First Lady hosted dozens of evangelicals to a White House dinner last night. Trump says their support has been incredible, but says he doesn't feel guilty, quote, because I have given you a lot back. The Pew Research Center says 78% of evangelicals support Trump. Joining me now is Eric Metaxas, host of The Eric Metaxas Show. Eric attended last night's White House dinner. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Last night you tweeted out this picture with Vice President and Mrs. Pence and Kellyanne and saying, just hang them at dinner with some friends.
Well, it's a funny thing because I am so honored to be there that you don't even know how to take it in. You think to yourself, this is such an honor, so I don't want to crow about it because I feel like I don't deserve to be here any more than anybody does. You just feel like it's an honor.
Well, did it surprise you that the president threw a dinner for just evangelicals?
It wasn't only a dinner, it was effectively a state dinner. It was in the room and with all of the accoutrement that you find at an actual state dinner. Melania Trump, the First Lady, wanted it to be that way, and she oversaw all of those details. So it's startling. To me, it's heartening that the president takes people of faith seriously. And by the way, I should say, since I'm on EWTN, you know, I, as a Christian, I always want to represent all Christians. And I think when we're talking about religious liberty, when we're talking about the unborn, that's not just evangelicals. I don't need to tell you or your audience. Those are issues that are vital to so many Americans and especially Christians.
What about critics who say, hey, separation of church and state, what are we doing having evangelicals in a quote-unquote state dinner?
There are two issues. First of all, the separation of church and state was set up to protect the church from the state co-opting it, right? So because we know in the colonial era, some states, or in Europe, they would say you either have to be Protestant or you have to be Catholic or you have to be a member of this church or that church, or you can't be a member of any church. So that's really a separate issue. Whether power is tempting and corrupting, we know that it is. And I think that when the Bible is really clear that you have to be very, very careful about that. At the same time, I think everybody in America who has serious Christian faith, and again, Catholics, evangelicals, they know that in the past administrations have pretty much kicked us and our concerns to the curb. I was deadly afraid of what would happen to religious liberty under Hillary Clinton, deadly afraid. And so I think that at the same time that you have to be wary of cozying up to power, you have to understand that to some extent having faith is political.
Is there anything that this president could do that would make evangelicals not support him?
Would not support him? Mm-hmm. I think there's an infinity of things that he could do that would make evangelicals not support him. I mean, let's say he came out and said, hey, I don't think it makes any difference whether people cheat on their wives. Or let's say he did something like that in the White House, the way previous presidents, JFK, and obviously Clinton. I mean, I do think that there are many, many things. And so people who think that evangelicals are supporting him for the power do not know me or my friends. I mean, that is something that we're very aware of. And I think that nothing in my mind could be further from the truth. God forbid that would be the case.
Before we let you go, we want to talk about your new book, Donald Drains the Swamp. When I first read it, I thought, oh, intellectual, that would be, it's a children's book parody. What are you doing? He's a caveman.
Yeah, he's a caveman. Listen, I've written 30 children's books. I wrote for Veggie Tales. I've written a lot of humor. And so this is really, it's a humor book for adults, but it's really so much, it's in the guise of a children's book. And then I realized it is appropriate as a children's book. It's very sweet. It's not making mean political points. It's a sweet fable. And we all know, like, hey, he's kind of a caveman, isn't he? And so it's meant to be funny. I think, listen, in these divided times, we need to laugh a little bit. And Donald Drains the Swamp, it's a fable for everybody, and I do tell people that if they order it now, they can they're entered into a contest to pre-order because it's not out yet.
Right.
But you're entered in a contest to have dinner with me and all kinds of cool stuff. So,
New York.
It's meant to be in New York or wherever or here because I come here sometimes too.
Great. So it's out in October?
In October, Donald Drains the Swamp.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric Metaxas, host of The Eric Metaxas Show.
Thank you.